Assalamualaikum and good day to my beloved lecturer and fellow friends. We are from Group 6 and we choose a movie titled Midway for this case study. Our group members are Alif Aiman, Fakrul Nazmi, Karisha Farhana and me, Nur Batrisha.
Problems identification and solution. First problem is Japan decide to dominate ASEAN Pacific country such as Malaysia and Indonesia, but United States threaten Japanese oil supply. Solution for these problems is Japanese use their carrier fleet to strike at Pearl Harbor to stop the threat in order to show their strength against United States. Second problem is after Japan launched an attack towards United States at Pearl Harbor and then Midway, the attack leads United States to enter World War II. The solution for this problem is United States prepare a great and well-planned strategies to win the war. The evidence in United States managed to shoot down Admiral Yamamoto flight to reduce Japanese military morale.
Next, I'm going to explain the leadership strategies used in the movie. Lieutenant Richard Halsey best support and prepare the staff morale by giving them a sentimental speech to them before launching an attack towards Hiryu, one of the in Japan. These strategies help to boost the United States Navy dive bomber pilot to be more confident and well prepared to launch the attack. The other strategies used in the movie is United States codebreakers managed to develop a well-planned strategies to break the code to know Admiral Yamamoto flight plans in Operation Vengeance. Rex T. Barber managed to shoot down the flight on Bougainville Island and Admiral Isoraku Yamamoto got killed on that operation.
So today, I would like to explain the first element in the SWOT analysis tool, which is strength. There are a lot of events that show the element of strength in the movie. Firstly, Japan decided to dominate the Pacific Asian countries such as Malaysia, Indonesia and others. Japan, through the Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, had warned American Naval Attaché Intelligence Officer Lieutenant Commander Edward T. Layton that if the Japanese oil supply is threatened by the United States, the Japanese will take immediate action to them. Then on December 7, 1941, the Japanese used their carrier fleet to strike at Pearl Harbor and the attack leads United States to enter World War II. Next evidence that show the element of strength in the movie is Admiral Yamamoto was killed in April 1943 after American codebreakers identified his flight plan, enabling the United States Army Air Force to shoot down his plane. His death was a major blow to Japanese military morale during World War II. Then, on June 4, the Japanese launched an air attack against Midway, which is United States Department of Interior. Next, a dive bomber pilot, Lieutenant Commander Richard Halsey Bass, lead the squadron which successfully heavily damaged the Hiryu, which is the one of the region in Japan. Yamamoto received news that his carrier force has been destroyed. This event had proven that there are a lot of strength elements had been implemented in the movie. This is shown when Japan and United States is both imperialism country. United States has veto power, which means United States is more stronger country than Japan, and then it lead United States to won the World War II.
The weaknesses that I found in this movie are: first is the complexity of the operation was a major weakness in the Japanese Midway strategy. The Japanese assembled a navy of 200 ships in preparation for an invasion of the United States. The warship component for the combined Midway and Alaskan offensive consisted of 11 battleships, 8 aircraft carriers, 23 cruisers and 67 destroyers. Against this overwhelming force, the Americans could only deploy 3 aircraft carriers, 8 cruisers and 14 destroyers. If the Japanese had concentrated their immense naval might on the US Pacific Fleet at Midway rather than distributing their enormous naval might across a broad arc between Alaska and Midway, they would very certainly have overwhelmed and destroyed the much smaller American ship. When the complicated strategy began to fall apart, Yamamoto's soldiers were too scattered to reclaim the momentum. Next is the mindset of the Japanese Navy planners was another fundamental fault in this Japan's Midway strategy. The Japanese planners made the huge mistake of underestimating American military capability and responsiveness because they believed Japan was unbeatable in battle. They compounded this error by believing too confidently that Japan's approach would entirely surprise the US and that Japan would maintain the pace throughout their intricate assault. Based primarily on the relative size and power of the opposing troops, the Japanese should have handily destroyed the US at Midway. The Americans appeared to be up against impossible odds.
One strategy of SWOT analysis is opportunities. First opportunities in this movie is US have underrated codebreaker. As example, in 1942, following the Battle of the Corsi, Layton along with Joseph Rashford and his cryptology team began intercepting messages concerning a location the Japanese identified as AF. Layton speaks with Admiral Chester Nimitz, who informed him that Washington believed AF to be a target in the South Pacific. Layton disagreed, believing that intended target to be Midway Atoll. After meeting with Rashford, Nimitz instructed the team to find a way to definitely prove that AF is Midway. After Layton instructed Midway to telegraph in the clear that they are suffering a water shortage, cryptologists working for Rashford intercept Japanese communication concerning water shortage on AF, confirming that AF is indeed Midway. Second opportunities in this movie is US prepared to ambush Japanese fleet. In preparation for an ambush of the Japanese fleet, Nimitz ordered carriers USS Hornet and Enterprise recalled from the Coral Sea and demand that the damaged USS Yorktown to be made ready for combat operation. During the preparation, Bass is briefly demoralized after one of his proteges crashed during a takeoff, but he received encouragement from the commander of the air group of the Enterprise, Wade McCluskey. Bass and Lindsay set aside their difference and worked together to prepare for the attack. Lindsay is put on shore leave by Nimitz after receiving a bad case of shingles, and is temporarily replaced by Raymond Sprance.
Right now, I'm going to explain the last elements of SWOT, which is traits. First trait is Roland Emmerich took on the real-life conflict of World War II, where people were fighting other people. Midway, therefore, works to humanize both sides of the conflict, especially World War II, because even though wars are between countries, they are fought by people, and not all of the people in the respective countries support the aims of those in charge. Next trait, a defeat at Midway would have forced a reallocation of industrial production and warships. This would have left key allies Australia and the Soviet Union in an impossible position. The US would have had towering production by 1943 or 1944, but the Soviets would not be there anymore. The other trait is after the planes returned to their carriers, the Americans broke off from the pursuit. Meanwhile, a Japanese submarine torpedoed and fatally wounded the Yorktown, which was in the process of being salvaged. It finally rolled over and sank at dawn on June 7, bringing an end to the battle. Last but not least, a dramatic depiction of the attack on Pearl Harbor struggles to move the emotional needle.